Let me know once you're able to see my screen.
Yeah, you're able to see.
Abhishek, Noor, you guys are there, right? I mean,
Yes, yes, bro.
okay. So we have like one or two topics left over. I mean, like as part of our schedule. So mostly today will be our last session. If there is any spillover, we will connect back tomorrow as well. Yeah. So today we are going to talk about something called as order monitoring rules. So what exactly is this? How can we configure and how exactly it can be implemented? We will see all of this. So in order to configure order monitoring rules, first we should understand what exactly it is and what are all the different things required to configure an order monitoring rule. So first of all, what is meant by order monitoring? Order monitoring is nothing but when an order is placed by XYZ person or customer, we have to process that particular order within certain time. Like for example, I have placed an order and I was told by the website. I mean, whenever I'm placing the order in the website, it showed me clearly that your order will be processed or your order will be shipped by so and so date. So and so date is nothing but like for example, it is February February 22nd today, and I was asking my order by February 24th or 25th. So I was expecting my order to come home by February 25th. So when I place that order and the order is processing from created to schedule, schedule to released, released to create shipment to picking, packing, shipping, all this process is happening. For example, for some XYZ reason, order is stuck in created status itself for long period. So how will the people who are working in the warehouse or how is the client whoever is maintaining this Sterling order management system knows that there is some order stuck in so and so status? Ideally, what will happen after 1 or 2 days or after February 25th? The customer, whoever has placed the order, he will make a call to the customer care center asking, I have not yet received my order. Can you please check and let me know what is the issue? At that point of time, the customer service representative, he will try to check for your order and he will say that for XYZ technical reasons, your order is not processed or your order is stuck in so and so status. In order to avoid these kind of situations, we are going to have something called as order monitoring rules. So what these order monitoring rules will do, they will monitor the order whether it is processing properly or not. Like how I just mentioned, right? You can monitor the order in any status, or you can even configure certain rules, something like that, something like uh, if my order is stuck in so and so status for last 1 hour, 2 hour, or 3 hour, then do this job. What is meant by do this job? You in that do this job, you can do like intimating the customer service representative or processing that order by invoking some API, or you can cancel that order. For example, if the order is stuck in scheduled status for 10 hours or 24 hours, then cancel that order. Likewise, there are many rules you can have. Like, for example, uh, this is what like the status is the major example which I can give. But when we see the configuration, there will be many more examples. Let us discuss on those. So, what is this order monitoring rule in Sterling OMS? As we are configuring the order monitoring rules, there will be two different things. One is milestone, one is monitor event. So, one is something called as milestone, and the second thing is monitor event. Okay, what is meant by milestone? Milestone is nothing but your target. What is my target? My target is order should be processed to next status, that is to scheduled, released, or whatever it is. That is my milestone. Okay, so you can configure that milestone and you can even configure the event. What is an event? If the order is not reaching this milestone within some time, then do this event. As part of this event, we can invoke any service. And under that service, we can do whatever we want, like invoking any API to process the order or sending the message to CSR team, okay, or raising an alert, okay, or canceling the order, like that. It depends upon the customer, client, whatever it is. So, in order to configure a monitoring rule, first we should configure the milestone and monitor event. Okay, so this particular monitoring rule will be present for each pipeline. Is that clear? I mean, am I going good?
Yeah, clear from end.
Yeah. So, Abhishek and Noor from you guys.
Yes, Pradeep.
Yeah. So, for each of the pipeline where the order flows from some X status to Z status, you can monitor that particular order. So, for each pipeline, you can configure different kinds of order monitoring rules. Let us see where exactly the order monitoring rules are present. So if you go under application platform, process modeling. So this order monitoring rules can also be at organization level. So what you can do, you can go for your particular organization matrix, and under matrix, go to your order fulfillment, and here you have different pipeline. So I guess we don't have any pipeline at matrix level because we have not configured. But in general, in any projects, the custom pipeline will be configured at the organization. So in my local, it is not there. So I'm doing it at the default level. So default level, this is my pipeline which we generally use. Okay, and if we are not sure like which pipeline is being used and all, right, you can check that. I'll just show you that also. As part of our database table, we have something called as YFS order line and YFS shipment line. So there are two tables, for example, YFS order, sorry. So if you see YFS order line, you have pipeline key. Okay. So you can go to that particular pipeline key, then you can go to YFS pipeline table, then you can get it. So let us see this. Select start from YFS order header. Okay. I'll just go with the normal order header. I'll take some random order header key. Then I'll go to select start from YFS order line where order header key is equal to this. So this is my order line table. In this, I want pipeline key. You can see sales 94 is my pipeline. Okay. So likewise, you can understand if you are new to a project. Okay. You don't know which pipeline is being used by which particular order. You can use this way. You can go to YFS order line table for the order level pipeline. You can go to YFS shipment line for the shipment level pipeline. Here also you can see there are shipment line only, right? Yeah. Or else it is there at the shipment level. YFS shipment. Yeah, it is there at the shipment table. So likewise, in each of the place wherever you want, you can use that particular pipeline key and understand which particular pipeline is being used. 1 second, guys. So once we know the pipeline determination, we can go to our particular pipeline and you can select that particular pipeline. There is something called as configure monitoring rules. So click on that particular configuring monitoring rules. In your project, if there are monitoring rules already configured, you should see a list of rules here. Okay. So let us try to configure one monitoring rule. I'm clicking plus. So it is asking choose a rule type. What kind of rule you want? Okay. Milestone has not reached before a date. Milestone has not reached after a date. What is meant by this milestone? Okay. As I was explaining in the beginning, my order has to reach by February 25th to my day, to my home. That is a normal order flow. So if it has to reach by February 25th or 26th to my home, there will be some ship requested ship date. Okay. Like for example, the truck is coming from Hyderabad warehouse to my home. That is, or else like let us assume the inventory is present in Hyderabad. I am in Bangalore. Okay. So in order to travel, the order will take at least 1 day to travel. I mean, from Hyderabad to Bangalore. So if the delivery date is on February 26th, at least by February 25th, it has to ship, right? It has to start from the location. So here what we can do, we can keep the milestone as shipping. I mean, the truck has to start before this date. So what we can do, my milestone has not reached before February 26th, or my milestone has not reached after so and so date. My milestone has not reached after another milestone. What is meant by another milestone? For example, you have picked the order, okay, but the order is not yet packed. So if you have picking as one milestone, packing as one milestone, you can use this particular rule where you can mention my milestone picking is reached, but after that my packing milestone is not reached. Guys, please talk. I mean, like if you guys are not understanding.
Yes, Pradeep.
We will see what is milestone, where can we configure milestone and all. We will see. Don't worry about that. But I'm just showing these are all the different kinds of rules you can configure. Likewise, you can see there is something called as has been in a status. This is the first thing we have talked or spoken. That is, my order has been in created status for last 2 hours. Please raise this event, something like that, or before a date, after a date, after a milestone. Likewise, you can configure n number of rules. Like let us assume this is our general rule which people use. Let us assume I am doing that. So I am selecting that rule. It comes something like this. If order has been in, okay, I am clicking to choose a status. In created status for 24 is there, right? I'm clicking on 24. You can enter any number of hours. For now, I am entering 0. 0.1. 0.1 is nothing but 5 minutes. Like how 1 will be 60 minutes, 0.5 will be 30 minutes. So 0.1 is 5 minutes. If my order has been in created status for 5 minutes, click to choose a calendar. So here you can choose any working hours and all stuff, but we can use elapsed hours. That means if order has been in created status for zero point 0.1 hours, then raise this event, monitoring event. So there are monitoring events which are created by default. We can create our own monitoring event and we can use that. Let us see how that can be done. So, is this clear? Likewise, you can create anything. Just to choose some monitoring event. Let me create one more. Likewise, for example, milestone has not reached before a date. It will be something like that only. If order has not reached any milestone, like order line completely shipped or cancelled, so I can give 5 hours, 5, let us use 5 working hours before. You can give expected ship date, then raise, cancel. Okay. So what is happening? If order has not reached completely shipped or cancelled status 5 working hours before my ship date, then raise cancel. Like this is something like our the example whatever we have spoken. My milestone is shipping out of the warehouse by so and so date. So if the milestone is not reached 5 hours before my date, then raise this particular event. And we will see where to configure the milestone, where to configure this date, where to configure this event. I mean, like whenever you are clicking this option, you are choosing something. It is asking for milestone first, right? It is a this choose milestone is there, right? There is some place where you can configure milestone and that will come in this particular drop down list. And there is some place where you can configure this date type, then it will come in this particular list. There is some place where you can configure the monitoring event, then it will come in this list. Okay. Likewise, you can configure multiple monitoring rules by configuring the required monitoring rule and the milestone or the date type and the event. Is that clear before we go in detail of each milestone, date type, and event?
Yes, brother.
Abhishek and Noor.
Yes, Pradeep.
Okay. So let us go to the next thing. So, as part of our distributed order management, we have under document specific sales order, fulfillment. Here you can see we have something called as order monitoring and monitoring events. If you go to order monitoring, here you have the date types. I mean, like you can also create one date type, something like shipped. Okay, shipped date, something like that. You can give. You can make it as expected shipped date. Okay, and milestone. You can configure any milestone, like how I mentioned, right? Uh, Picking expected. So now I'll create one more packing expected. So basically, like this, you can configure multiple milestones and multiple date types. Then you can also configure monitor events. My event can be something like send email. Okay. Then description can also be, or else send message. Let us assume send a message. Let us configure the description also send a message and requires re-alert. If there is no action taken on that particular event, then you can re-alert the particular CSR team after an hour or something like that. If there are some alerts which are raised, if you want them to automatically resolve also, you can use this. Event identified by, whether this event is raised at what level, whether it is order level, order line level, order release level, ship node, seller organization, which level you want. In general, we use order and order line. Okay. And service to be invoked. What is the service you want to invoke? Whether you want to uh, invoke any API, or you want to send message, put the message into database, or you want to invoke some XYZ Java code. All those things you can configure it as a service and you can use that service here. Like I'm just using some DB component, as we are just putting the message into a DB. Okay. And the same thing, aggregate and invoke service for what kind of level it is. So this is how you configure an event. So once the event and date type milestone is configured, you can go back to your pipeline monitoring rule. Then you should see. I'll just cancel the. I'll just delete these things. Okay. So now I'll just show you whatever milestone we have created. Click to choose a milestone. We have created. Okay, it has to be closed and opened. Just a second. No, these are created. Well and good. Let me go and refresh. Okay. Tom. Thing like this. So let me try now. So you can see my picking and packing milestones have come here. So what I can do, I can choose milestone has not reached after another milestone. I can choose that. If order has not reached packing within 5 working hours of the enterprise of pick, sorry, picking, then raise send message. So what will happen here? If the order has not reached packing milestone within 5 hours of picking, then raise send message. That means that if the order is picked but it is not yet packed within 5 hours of time, then we have to raise an alert or send a message. Is this clear?
Yes, Pradeep.
Yes, Pradeep.
Now, so basically, this is how the order monitoring rules are configured. You can go to your particular project or wherever what you call the monitoring rules are configured, and you can see what all the monitoring rules are configured and all stuff. But you are configuring the monitoring rules. Who will monitor these rules? I mean, like, who will work according to these rules? There is some agent called as enhanced order monitor. Okay, so there is an agent called as enhanced order monitor. This particular agent will work according to the monitoring rules. Like for example, if you configure a monitoring rule here, you have configured a monitoring rule like has been in a status. Okay, if order has been in created status for last 5 minutes, okay, click to choose a calendar for last 5 minutes, then raise send message. If I configure something like this, so what happens, right? That particular enhanced order monitor, it will keep on running and it will work according to these monitoring rules. It will check if there is any order which is matching any monitoring rule, then it will raise that particular event. Like for example, as of now, there is no agent configured here. So let me configure an agent. So I'll just give order monitor agent. Okay, order monitor agent. I've configured it. Let me put it somewhere here. This is my agent server command. Okay. And I don't have, okay, I'll just raise some alert if there is an issue. JMS queue. Let me create a JMS queue real quick. Hmm. So services, messaging, JMS module, my JMS module. Let me create a new queue. I'll just name it as order monitor queue. Okay. I'll just create an order monitor queue. Next, set deployments up, finish. So my queue is also ready. I'll name that queue, and rest all are going to be same. So I'll just give a schedule time trigger as 1 minute, and that's all. So now my agent is also ready, and I have a monitoring rule. My monitoring rule is if order is stuck in created status for 5 minutes, then raise send message. What is send message? As part of our, okay, I'll show you what I have did in the send message. So monitor events. So basically what am I doing is send message. I'm invoking some service called as DB1. So let us see what is there in the DB1. So it is just a test service where I'm just putting the message into the database. So ideally speaking, select start from manifest export where flow name is equal to db1. I'll just take the export key greater than 2024 02 22. Okay, so there should be some message in this particular table. Let us start my first. I'll create an order, then I'll start the agent. Java TP tester. Let me create an order. Password. So my order is created. Let me create a couple more orders. Okay, I've created some 4-5 orders. Let me start my agent. So almost bin 20. So here it has to be this one. Enter. So let us see what happens once my agent is started. So as part of this particular agent, it is an out of the box agent. There is nothing much we can do on this particular agent. And you can see it is a non-task based transaction. So ideally it will just check based on the monitoring rules. It will just go and check if there are any orders which are eligible and all stuff. Then it will raise the required event. So let us wait for the agent to start. Give it a minute.
Pradeep, here we have configured monitor rules in that pipeline, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and just this enhanced whatever this transaction is there, order
Yeah.
monitor.
Yeah. That's it. Enhanced order monitor and the monitoring rule. But in order to configure the monitoring rule, we have to configure that monitor event, milestone, and all stuff. I mean, if you are using milestone related rules, then you need milestone. If we have just taken this one, so this one doesn't need any milestone. It just need an order event. So likewise, based on the milestone, what you call that rule you are choosing, accordingly you have to configure. But here, I just took a simple example.
Okay, so based on this milestone only, that transaction will trigger. Huh?
Yeah, that particular transaction will take that particular what do you call that event, and sorry, based on that particular monitoring rule, it will select if there are any orders which are matching its criteria, and then it will trigger the event. So you can see there are hundreds of orders in my local which are in created status. And for all those orders, you can see just now it has created the message here. But we have given just last 5 minutes, right?
Yeah.
So these orders are there from many days. So obviously it would cross the 5 minutes time period. So likewise, you can configure the order monitoring rule and you can do whatever you want in the monitoring event. Is that clear, guys?
Yes, Pradeep.
Awesome. So that's all I had on the order monitoring rule configurations and the implementation part. So one last thing we had was on this inventory node capacity. So we'll just see on an high level like what exactly is this, uh, what exactly it is meant by, and we'll also see certain examples on the inventory node capacity. Even I have not worked on this like in the last couple of years at least. So even I'm not that clear. But last night when I was trying to see what I can share with you guys, I found this particular knowledge center documentation where we can go through this particular document and see what exactly it means and we can see if there are any questions, doubts. We can have one more session where I'll try to work before I come to the session. So before I jump onto this, any doubts on the order monitoring rules and its configurations? So coming to this inventory node capacity, as we already discussed, for every warehouse or for every store, whatever we are configuring, there will be some node capacity. What is meant by capacity? For example, in your store, you have only four people working. I mean, like one person is sitting in the billing counter, one person is picking, one person is packing, one person is like again picking or packing, whatever it is. So you have only minimal workforce. Whenever you have minimal workforce, if the number of orders are coming to that particular store, let us assume per day 500 orders are coming. When 500 orders are coming, these four people, whoever is working in the store, they are unable to process those 500 orders within the provided time period. If they are not able to process the 500 orders within the provided time, what will happen? For example, today 500 orders has reached the store and in the 500 they are able to process only 400. There are 100 left over in the store. And the next day and the next day, excuse me, sorry. And the next day, the number of orders they can process will keep on getting piled up. So, in order to avoid these kind of situation, there is something called as node capacity. Node capacity is nothing but what is the maximum number of orders for a particular item they can process is called as node capacity. So what happens if the node capacity is exceeded? Then as part of our sourcing rule configuration, the order whichever is getting placed, it will try to fetch or it will try to process the order from a different warehouse or the ship node. So that is the like basic or simpler terms of node capacity. So if you see here, node capacity has an impact on the calculation of ship dates as inventory managers can configure how many units and how many releases can be processed per time slot. So as part of that particular time slot or that particular node, they can define how many orders or releases can be processed. So if a node meets maximum work capacity on one day, additional fulfillment needs can then be moved to another distribution center or to the same distribution center on the next day. For example, you have store 1, store 2, store 3. If store 1 has reached its maximum node capacity, then you can send it to the different store, or you can send it to the same store in the next day based upon the shipment date. Like how I was telling, right? I want my order by February 26th. In order to have my order by February 26th, at least it should be shipped by February 25th. So if I place my order today, if it can't be processed today, it can be processed tomorrow or day after because there is enough time to process my order, right? So like that, if the order cannot be processed today because of the node capacity, it can be given to the next store or the next DC or distribution center or the warehouse, or it can be given to the same store or same vendor on the next day. So, because sourcing rule details can be configured to include only nodes that have a certain level of capacity available, if a node does not meet the defined availability percentage, the node will not be used. So, that is what we are just now uh, discussed, that you can configure the sourcing rules in such a way that it considers the node capacity. You can see here. Node capacity can be defined for two different delivery methods. One is for shipping and one is for pickup. A single resource pool of each delivery method can be configured for each node that maintains capacity. For example, you can configure resource pool 1 for node 1 such that it maintains capacity for pickup delivery methods. You can configure another resource pool resource 2 for node 2 that is basically for shipping methods. So likewise, you can have your node capacity for different delivery methods, different warehouses, different stores, and whenever an node or store reaches its maximum node capacity, then the order can be given to the different distribution group or store or to the same store or same distribution center on a different date. Any doubts so far?
Okay.
Okay. So there is something called as shift based node capacity also. I mean, like as part of our business calendar, you can configure the shift and you can specify the quantity of each item or each what you call that product, how many it can be processed within that particular time period. So here, if you see by using the shift based node capacity feature, you can specify the quantity of an item that a node can fulfill during a specified time period based on the node's capacity. For example, your business might experience less traffic in the morning than in the afternoon, and it might also experience a traffic surge in the evening. To be sure that you have enough capacity available for the evening rush, you can partition your node capacity to be lower in the morning, moderate in the afternoon, and higher in the evening. By partitioning your capacity in this way, you can allocate capacity based on demand determined by the time of the day. For example, okay, they have given some example. Let us talk about some other example. My store is capable of processing shipping orders and pickup orders. Pickup orders is nothing but BOPIS, buy online, pick up in store, and shipping is nothing but they will place an order, it will come to by store, and we will ship it to the home. So in general also, any store, they will have a maximum people walking into the store in the evening time, right? So what we can do in the morning slot, that is from morning 9 a.m. to 12 a.m. or 12 p.m., we can have maximum capacity for shipping. From afternoon 12 to evening 4 o'clock, you can have 50-50%. And after 4 o'clock, you can give maximum capacity for pickup orders. So something like that, you can have your node capacity based on the shift. So from the SBC, that is our Sterling Business Center inventory window, you can divide node capacity into multiple time slots while creating a service slot group. Once created, node capacity slot groups can be assigned to multiple inventory resource pools. Thereby, you can create, modify, delete node capacity slots and node capacity slot groups from the SBC. So this is nothing but slot groups, and whatever we are configuring here is called as resource pools. So in order to have your particular service slot group or inventory resource pools, you can do that in our SBC. In SBC, under inventory, you can configure multiple resource pools, and you can configure multiple slot groups, and you can allocate them against each other. You can delete, modify, create the required what we call that source groups and slot groups and resource pools. Let us see where exactly it is that. So I'm going to let me go to Matrix Incorporated. Then I'll go to inventory. Under inventory, you can see manage node capacity. Only node. Okay, it can be node. Sorry, you have to go for matrix warehouse one. So under inventory, you can go to manage node capacity. So here you can see there is something called as resource pool. So let me create one resource pool. You can give any resource pool ID, like whatever you want. Like for example, I'll just give as resource pool one. Okay, you can give unit, delivery method, ship. Let us assume something like that. Okay. Now add the standard capacity period. So here you can give some capacity, like for example, start date is today, end date is next week. Okay. Then on that particular day, you can give your capacity. Like for example, on Monday, it is the starting of the week. So I might have less number of what you call that shipping orders. So whatever the resource pool one I have created, was that shipping or picking? Did you guys notice? I didn't remember. Okay, whatever it is. For example, my resource pool one is shipping. So on Monday, pickup orders will be less because starting of the week, people don't come to store that. At the weekend, people will be more walking into the store. So in that way, what I can do, I can give maximum in the shipping method. And when it comes to here on Friday, I can give minimum in the shipping method. So likewise, I can give n number of capacity like this, and you can have it. So now the standard capacity is stored or saved between this particular start date and end date. So whenever an order comes to this particular matrix warehouse 1 on Tuesday, the maximum shipping orders it can take is 1231 units. Okay. So likewise, if you go to weekly capacity, you can create for week to week also. I mean, like whichever week you want to configure, you can configure. Whichever day you want to configure, you can configure and all stuff. So if you see, this one we have configured for shipping. Likewise, you can configure one more resource pool for pickup, and you can have the required what you call configuration done on multiple different resource pools and multiple different what you call that delivery methods. Okay. So there is some property called as YFS node capacity considers slot end time and determines whether the expected ship date calculation is based on the start timestamp or end timestamp of the chosen service slot. If set to Y, the expected ship date is calculated based on this end time. If no, then no value is defined. Or if the property is set to N, the slot start time of the minimum ship time of the generated choice would be used. Okay, so basically, as part of our OMS properties, where is it? Properties, yeah. There is something called as YFS properties. So if you go to this particular YFS properties folder, YFS properties file, they are telling that there is a property named as node capacity consider slot end time. So if you see, it's not there. Why is it not there? Not here. Where exactly it would be? Maybe in sandbox. So let me check in sandbox. Why? It should be either of these. Customer overrides is something which we will configure. It's not there in our properties. Mm-mm-mm. What exactly? Did they mention anything? YFS. Okay, let me do this. I'll try to keep a search. Okay, let us wait. When I don't remember. See, properties. Let this search happen. Meanwhile, let us discuss what they are telling. So there is some property. Okay. If the property is Y, the shipment date is stamped as so and so thing. If property is N, the shipment date is stamped as so and so n. Let us see what it is. If the property is set as Y, the ship date is calculated based on the slot's end time. End time. Slot is nothing but here whatever the time you are configuring. Like 12 to 16, that means like 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. is one slot. So if the property is set as Y, the shipment date will be considered according to the end time. Okay. If the property is set as N, the slot start time is taken as shipment date. The start time is taken as shipment. Like the shipment date is calculated based on the start time. So that is what they are trying to explain here. Let us see. Okay, there is nothing like that. Okay, I'm not sure, guys. Maybe we have to find where that property is. Let us Is set to y, where is it? They have not given anything, any information on that. But anyway, let us try to understand what happens if the property is y and m. Consider a line scenario with the following order lines. Order line 1 with quantity 1000, order line 2 with quantity 1000. The ship date for this particular both the order lines is on August 13th, 2015, 1:30 a.m. The capacity for the node is something like this. That from morning 8 o'clock to 12 o'clock, the capacity is 4000 and allocated consumption is zero. That means as of now, nothing is consumed. Between 12 to 16, availability is 1000, but there are 3000 orders waiting. 16 to 19, 4000 and 0. The consumption would be created against the slot 12 to 16 on for order line 1, while the order line 2, the consumption would be created against the slot 16 to 19 on the same date. Why is it so? Let us see that. So the expected ship date will be taking from 8 to 12 is what I'm not understanding. Okay, might be. Okay, yes, I'll just start back from the beginning. So there is some property that is node capacity consider slot end time. So whenever they want to consider the end time, they have to set this particular property as y. If they have to consider the start time, then put this property as n. For example, you have placed an order for 1000 quantity and order 2 is also 1000 quantity. Both of them want to be shipped by 1:30 p.m. in the afternoon on August 13th. But my node capacity is something like this. Okay. So my slots are from morning 8 a.m. to 12 a.m., 12 p.m., 12 to 16, 16 to 19. Ideally speaking, 1:30 p.m. should come in this particular second time slot. But what happens is the consumption would be created between so and so time because obviously it has to come between 12 to 16 for order line 1, while the order line 2, the consumption would be created against so and so because the availability is reaching the maximum. So it will go to the second order, second time slot, which is at 16 to 19 for the order line 2. Whereas if the property is set as n, then the ship date would be same as that particular order line 1, and for order line 2 it will be the start date this particular time. The expected ship date for the earlier case, if the property is set as y, for order line 1 on 8:16 it is on the 16 time, that is like basically the end time, and for the order line 2 it will be 90. Okay, like just forget about this example. But the main concept what we have to understand here is if an order coming between this particular time slot, the ship date will be calculated as the starting of the slot if it is set as n, the ending of the slot if it is set as y. That is a simple explanation what I could give. If you have any doubts on that, I'll try to explain once again on this property. So basically, if you want to consider the last time in the slot, then you have to put the property as y. If you want to consider the first time of the slot, you have to put the property as n. So that is what they are trying to explain here. Here in the example, what they have given is the time slot in that particular store is morning 8 to 12, 12 to 4, 12 to 4, 4 to 7. So if an order comes between 12 to 4, if you are putting the property as Y, that means that you want to consider the last time. So your ship date will be calculated based on that particular last time in that particular slot. If you don't want to consider the last time in the slot, then you have to put the property as N. Then it will be first time slot, that will be 12 o'clock. So yeah, that is how the node capacity on the slot groups works. Likewise, you have many configurations defining slot groups where to define the slot group and where to likewise you have many information. Like if you just go for our IBM documentation, you can get many of the information. But this particular node capacity and all is basically used in the places where the warehouse management system, that is Sterling warehouse management system, is also within IBM. So yeah, guys, that's pretty much what I could cover. Because like this is some concept which I have worked, like I can say 4 5 years ago, and I couldn't recollect how I can show you guys implementation part directly as part of our configurations and all. Even these monitoring rules, we don't get chance to work on the monitoring rules unless the project is very in the starting stage. If the project is kind of a stabilized project, the monitoring rules and all will be configured in the initial stage itself. So even this, like, we will not get much chance, but like, yeah, I just spent some time yesterday to see how it can be explained and all. But on the node capacity, I couldn't get any, or I couldn't recollect anything. So I just thought I'll share whatever is present in the IBM Knowledge Center. So yeah, that's all I had, guys. Like, if you guys have any doubts, we can discuss, and that's all I have for the session. Pavan, Abhishek, Noor.
Good, right.
Yeah, and guys, like this will be our last session, and what you call that? If there are any questions, clarifications, we can connect anytime, any day. I'll be available on WhatsApp. Sometimes, if I am busy, I may skip the message or the call, and I'll try to reach you back. So definitely reach out to us for any questions, clarifications during the course of time.
Sure, brother.
And Abhishek, I saw your message this morning, and today I'll definitely give some time for you, at least some 30 40 minutes or more than that. We'll try to connect.
Yeah, sure, Pradeep.
Yeah, last night I was a little busy. I slept late also. I couldn't.
Okay, I can understand.
Yeah, guys, that's all I have. It was nice traveling with you guys for last 20 25 days. I hope the same with you. And yeah, happy to share the knowledge with you guys. And I hope this will be useful for you. And if you guys are new to Sterling, and if you guys are trying to uh, work more on Sterling, trying to switch the job, whatever the situation you guys are in, I would definitely say Sterling is the best option or opportunity you can get, and you can rely on Sterling at least for next 10 years, because the way Sterling is growing and the way IBM is coming up with new features and functionalities, or even I can say new versions, we can at least have a roadmap of next 10 to 15 years. And one more main point is, it's not that you have to be stuck with Sterling order management system. The industry is completely with e-commerce. I mean, there is no project or there is no client customer without e-commerce. Any nowadays, like e-commerce is trending. I mean, whatever you take, you have to order, you get it home. So for everything, you need something or the other related to order management system. It's not that, okay, after 5 years or 10 years, let us assume if IBM stops Sterling order management system all of a sudden, what happens to our job? No, never think like that. Because if not Sterling order management system, there is one more order management system going to come. And if you are into Sterling order management system, you will understand any other order management system within weeks of time. Earlier, I was working on Sterling WMS, that is warehouse management system, and that particular client, they want to move out of Sterling and they want to go into something called as Manhattan WMS. There is something called as Manhattan warehouse management system, and to be frank, it was pretty easy, I can say. And one more thing is, not all the warehouse management systems or not all the order management systems are having this much customizable options in their application. Like just now, as I was telling, right, Manhattan order management system. They have order management system also, Manhattan. They don't have these many customizations. And if you want to implement any custom logic, like how you write a Java code here, they don't have this feature. You have to reach back to the Manhattan Associates company. They will write some code for you and they will give you. And if you take Oracle OMS, Oracle is also having OMS. They don't have this much flexibility of writing a Java code. You have to just write some stored procedures and all stuff. So likewise, there are limitations on each and every order management systems, and they have its own pros and cons. So definitely some or the obviously definitely there should be some or the other order management system in the market running. So don't worry, it should be a easy way forward. At least for next 10 to 15 years, Sterling order management system is not going anywhere because the way IBM is looking at it or the way IBM is growing it, the number of customers, clients increasing day by day. So we should be good enough to proceed further on Sterling Water Management System. And I would say a big all the best for you guys if you are starting your career with Sterling Water Management System. And if you are trying to move to Sterling Water Management System, I would definitely convey my wishes, all the best. And yeah, that's all I have for the day.
Yeah, thank you, brother.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Have
Yeah,
a
thank you, Pradeep.
nice day. Have a nice journey with Sterling Auto Management System, and we can connect anytime. And we are not going to delete our group. It will be there. If you guys have anything, you can post there. If not me, you can see our active kite handle. They will try to respond if there are any doubts and all stuff.
Sure, sure, brother.
Okay, guys. Thanks. Have a
Sure.
nice day.
Thank you,
Let's
Pradeep.
meet when you guys have anything. Thanks, everyone.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you all.